Hi Abhay, hi Rajshri, hi Prashant. I'm Kartik. Welcome to Cinema Express. Abhay, I want to start off with you. During 2009, during the release of Devdi, you said that promotions are not your cup of tea. How has that changed now? Since 14 years since then.
Well, I'm here, no? I'm promoting. In fact, now I tell the guys at the marketing department, is that all you got for me? I need more. Like, do you not care about your product? No. Jokes aside, yes. I had to tell myself that marketing is part of my job.
Yeah.
And then it became more digestible. Back in those days, I was, you could say, left of center, where I believed
Because
an
you
actor
said
should
that.
not.
Yeah.
Work should speak for myself. You
Yeah.
know, it's the director's medium.
Yeah.
You know, the movie. Why do you want me? And I
Yeah.
think that was just one extreme. So, and I didn't want to go the other extreme either, where it's all about marketing.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find that balance. Hence, I'm
Yeah.
here.
Are you comfortable with that balance now?
Yeah, I'm actually very happy with it because, like I said, I had to tell myself it is
Yeah.
part of your job to market.
Yeah.
How about that? And then I was like, the mind is an amazing thing. You can't will yourself to do something. You have to find ways to accept and embrace things. So as soon as I bought the idea that marketing was just as important as acting,
Yeah.
and that it didn't matter if I was compromising my creativity or myself in any way.
Yeah.
Because it was part of my job, so I can't help it.
Yeah.
And so that became better.
Guys, talking about the show Trial by Fire, when I read about this incident about in 1997 at the Uphaar fire tragedy, it's the story is so heart wrenching about this couple, whose children die and they are fighting for justice. I want to ask you guys, Abhay and Rashri, when you were approached with the role, what went into your head? Like, we'll start with you, Rashri.
Yeah, when they approached me for the role, of course, I was not knowing many things.
Yeah.
What I read through the newspapers and whatever the online thing, that much only. Even before that, I was not knowing even the incident also so deeply. So my first reaction was, I have to know everything.
Yeah.
I have to understand what exactly happening, and then, do my own research, work on it.
Yeah.
Because playing Neelam and showing a 25 years of life, it's not easy at all.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to be in her shoes.
Yeah.
But for that, because I'm portraying her on screen, I had to prepare myself. I had to go through the emotional, psychological, physical work to be, closer to what she has gone through. So yeah, for me, it was a pretty hard work.
And for you, Abhay, how was the experience? Like, how was the stepping into the shoes of this character?
It was because it was so tragic, and a true story.
Yeah.
It was a bit hard to digest this happening, to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. I don't know where I'd be if this happened to me. Obviously, I'm playing somebody who actually went through it and has a lot more strength than I do. I don't know how I would be in that situation, but I wish I could be as strong as Neelam and Shekhar in dealing with what they were faced with.
Yeah.
There was an inspiration there. And I think just knowing that was enough to allow myself to be in that space of vulnerability where I was like, okay, they've gone through so much. And here we are representing them almost.
Yeah.
How amazing it is that Prashant is taking this story and is now taking their journey and put it out there for the world to see.
Yeah.
And how fortunate I am to be a vessel in that presentation. And so nothing I've gone through can compare to what these people went through. So it somehow became easy almost being vulnerable, for lack of a better word. So the hard work wasn't so much the hours that you worked. The hard work was in just staying in that space of vulnerability for long stretches of time. And the thing that kept me going was thinking, well, you're translating for someone's real experience. This is a really good thing you're doing.
Yeah.
And so you're nowhere close to the vulnerability.
Yeah.
So it was okay being vulnerable for that time.
Yeah. Prashant, when you discovered this story, I want to ask you, when did you actually think about that? Okay, this is a story which is urgent enough to be told. How did that process go?
Well, my family's from Delhi, so I'd been going to the cinema as a kid, and I was aware of the incident, but I had sort of put it in the back of my head. It wasn't something that I had been thinking about. And then I got the book. The
Yeah.
producers brought me
Yeah.
the book, and I read it, and I felt it was an important story to tell, and a relevant one today, because first of all, it is tragic, but it's also very inspiring
Yes.
that these two people just refused to back down in the face of odds, and basically just kind of kept fighting for what they believed they deserved. And I think there's something we can all learn from that. And then also just because public safety and the judicial system are still very much issues. In
Yeah.
fact, probably worse now
Yeah.
than back then. And it's something that affects all of us on a daily
Yeah, yeah.
basis. And unless we start demanding that spaces are safe and that the judicial system
Yeah.
delivers a little more for people who come to it in need, things aren't going to change.
Yeah.
So I felt for those reasons it was an important story to tell.
Abhay, I want to talk about this. This story actually very strangely connects with your life also, because on 13 June 1997, when this incident occurred, these people were watching Border, of which Sunny Sir was a part of. I want to know, was there like back in 97 or even now, did this come up at home, or did you ever discuss with Sunny Sir? Like, because it's a big day for cinema, like because it's a house full and people were enjoying themselves, and this occurred there. Like, did that discussion ever come up?
Look, I mean, I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. But
I
now
don't
also.
remember what was discussed on that day.
Yeah.
But what I do remember is how shocked everybody was at home.
Yeah.
They understood what was going on, and I don't think anything mattered other than the fact
Yes.
that people were dying in it.
Yeah.
And look, the reason why this story also traveled really fast, because everybody goes to the cinema,
Yeah.
and that's a popular cinema that everybody went to. So it kind of highlights that it could happen to you.
Yeah.
So I think everybody was just frightened of the fact that this had taken place and shocked and feeling bad for the families who'd lost. I don't think there was so much of the fact that there was border necessarily playing,
Yeah.
because they were just overwhelmed by
Yeah.
the death and destruction.
Abhi, your films are the reason, I guess, I discovered torrents, because I was watching films like Oye Lucky Lucky Oye, and I was watching Manorma, and I was like, but like since then, I think, I think at that point of time, like you were getting, I think you were getting these films like less, because there had to be a theatrical process. Like there was no other avenue for it, there was no other platform for it, and there were only like theaters. But now, since OTT has come, do you get such different scripts more?
I wasn't really getting those scripts. I was going on and
You were
looking
seeking
for
it.
them.
Yeah.
And then after finding them, I was trying my hardest to give them a platform, Theatrical was our only option.
Yeah.
And I was lucky that I came across other filmmakers who felt the same and had the talent to deliver. So it was nice while it lasted, but there was no real collective movement, or like,
Yeah.
nobody supported one another. It was just each to their own. So
And now, how is
unfortunately,
it like
couldn't.
now?
And even now, it's much better, because the OTT platforms at least are, they'll do both. They'll make the mainstream and they'll also make the non-mainstream,
Yeah.
because they're a digital platform. Theaters are a physical entity, it's limited space, whereas digital
Yeah.
entities are limitless in space. So there's definitely a lot more talent that has been allowed to make movies, shows, a lot more talent in the space of acting and directing that would not have gotten a chance had it been just theatrical. For sure, it's opening. I think we're only restricted by our own imaginations right now, not so much, and elements of fear for whatever reason.
Yeah. But do you like, because your filmography when it comes to OTT is like, you're not like, because when you were doing so much different scripts,
Yeah.
and now you come in like shows, but like it's still very sparse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that?
I don't really know.
Is it because like you don't find the perfect script?
I think I took a back seat for a while, because
Okay.
I knew that nothing that I could relate to would go very far. I was also tired of putting energy and time into something and then seeing it fall apart, or seeing it made but then distributed and marketed close, like Manorma, which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
barely marketed or distributed. So I think all those experiences, while now I can look back and look at the positive and embrace all the change that my films were able to make. It wasn't so easy to get there, and it was very easy to go into the obstacles, then making something good, but then not doing well, because then understanding that marketing and distribution, all those things. So I think I just kind of took a back seat, and because my attention was so much on it's just very difficult and it's not going to get made, I suppose I created that around me. But as soon as I started to get out of that zone, I think that's probably on the time I got this show. So hopefully you'll see a lot more of me now, maybe.
Guys, I want to ask this. When it comes to like OTT films, like there is this thing about like theaters are only reserved for spectacle cinema. Like there's this debate that is happening. I want to ask you guys, is that's supposed to happen? Like some films should be only for OTT and should only be released on OTT, or like it should be like every film should be a part, like be a theatrical experience, and then later, maybe a month or so later, they can be put on OTT. Like every film should get a chance to be to have a theatrical release.
I mean, I'm sure you have a take on this, but
I mean, look, I don't know. I think there's space for everything. There, but I find it extremely gratifying that this show that drops on the 13th will be available to 200 million people. That kind of reach, who can watch it in the comfort of their homes, or at breakfast when they want to, or in between dropping the kids off, and you know, whatever they can watch it. For a creator, that's very gratifying. That wherever I travel, if someone wants to see my work, I can say it's on Netflix, and there's generally like okay, great, you know, I know where to get it. Same is true was true of torrents, by the way, but yeah. So I mean, I think there's room for a little bit of everything. I mean, I think that debate also less and less from the filmmaker perspective is becoming one that it's worth investing in. Is, you know, like a couple of years ago, it was like, oh, I want my movie to have a theatrical release. I think now things have changed so much that
there is an element of spectacle being still the platform for cinema, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's
because I mean, at the end of the day, in like when Netflix hit the scene in the US and they were churning out these amazing dramas with faces you'd never see before, representation of people of color that you'd never see in Hollywood. So they brought about a lot of positive change that Hollywood, for example, wouldn't have given. You know, they wouldn't have put in front and center people of color as main, the oversight characters, for example. And drama that they wouldn't necessarily make into film because it'd be too controversial. And also, superheroes are far more fun watching on a 70mm than on a small screen. So it makes sense why spectacle became the thing that you would go to the cinemas for, and good drama is the thing that you would go to the television for. Although I just feel a good drama is always fun to watch in the cinemas. It's nice to watch your work on a big screen. But as Prashant said, you can't compare the reach.
You feel the same way, Rajshri?
I think everything is important for me. Theater, then online streaming platforms, or you know, a performing space. I think how you're making that particular work is more important. You know, you can watch a show like this on a theater also, and you can watch you know, an entertainment thing. At the end of the day, everything is story. So the rest of the calculation, the business, I'm honestly not familiar with. But I feel you know, when we have a story, a good story, well crafted, well acted, well directed, everything is perfect. It should travel. Everything, everywhere, you know.
Guys, I want to ask you this. Both of you have, you know, kind of like radically changed when it comes to your filmography. You know, the choices you made like back in 2009-2010 when you're doing Dev D, Manorma, you just changed Abhay, the whole definition of a hero. Like your hero was not, you know, a macho. Okay, he had vulnerable moments and everything. And you, Rajshri, with your films like S. Durga and Angry Indian Goddesses, okay, you were also like, you know, you guys in your own way were fighting against a system, against, you know, this popular opinion. Do you think now, like since then, now it has become difficult to do that? Has it become difficult to, you know, question a popular opinion because there has been boycotts happening and a lot of things?
I mean, I don't want to fight with anyone. Even when I was fighting the system, it's not someplace, I don't know about you, but you don't want to fight necessarily. You want to be embraced, you want to dance, you want to play.
So I just want to tell a story.
Fighting is only the result of resistance towards you and your own immaturity to deal with that resistance. and so you fight.
Yeah.
So there was a time I was a rebel, and now it's my time to be a diplomat, so to speak. Because rebellion, if it got me this far,
Yeah.
I can keep rebelling if it keeps paying. But if
Yeah.
it's not paying, then is it about me or is it about the issue? It's not
Yeah.
about me, it's about the issue. Okay, so get over yourself.
Yeah.
If you have to change your tactic, then you change it, because what's more important, your ego or the result that you're looking for?
Yeah.
So if fighting doesn't work, then you try something different.
But since like I'm asking this question because Rajshri, like you did a Sacred Games, and there is a frontal nude scene in it, and people had a rage over it, and there was an uproar over it. But now they don't even need that scene. Okay, there's just a orange bikini is there, and they're uproaring over that. So like that's what I'm saying. Like, have things changed? Like creatively, like when it comes to creative choices and with writers, there is a lot of self censorship that is happening. Do you think that is what it is?
I did the Think Festival, or was it 2009? And they had they wanted to photograph all the people who were invited.
Yeah.
To your question. And they gave us a board and you could scribble something on it. And it's 2009, I got self-censorship and because the world is moving in that direction.
Yeah.
And sadly it continues to do so. There is a swing towards violence that's around the globe.
Yeah.
And that never solves anything. It just perpetuates further violence. And that must be because people haven't learned to live with each other and have human values. They tend to have tradition over humanity.
Yeah.
And so maybe we're just a violent species that will just implode, perhaps.
I want to know.
That positive.
Very true. Absolutely. At the end of the day, what's important is, humanity,
Yeah.
And how true you are with what you're doing, how compassionate you are, and how sensible you are and sensitive you are.
Yeah.
If you're not sensitive, if you're not sensible, then, there's nothing, like we can't discuss anything.
Guys, when it comes to your characters in Trial by Fire, like Leenam and Shekhar Krishnamurti, these are real people. I want to know the acting process which goes when you're portraying a real person. Like when it like a written or a character, still you can make it in your mind. Does it do you see their mannerisms and you're like, oh, this is exactly I want to portray it? Or do you go by, you just make a picture of themselves and how they would react to certain situations and then you enact it on screen?
I think for me, first thing is important is the emotional truth, how true you are with what we are saying. If you're not feeling it, you will people will catch you, like everything. Your frame says everything. So you have to be true. Of course, you can't, it's 25 years of a journey of both the people and the whole Abu team. So it's not that easy.
Yeah.
It was difficult for both of us, but the script itself, it's such a bound proper script. It's written so sensitively, and the team we worked on, Prashant, who has handled things so well, and he has given us all the comfort and care, and he kind of spoiled us, I can say another thing, because it's very difficult to get such kind of atmosphere on a set where they're giving you so much love and care and space to discuss, space to listen, talk, so that's how it was on set, and it kind of stayed with us, and that's the reason I think we could, because of the great team and all, we could deliver what it is on screen. And
Same thing for you, Abhay?
Yeah.
Like, how was it?
Well, I mean, we didn't. Both of them are. They're an urban couple from Delhi, so it's not like we had to put on an accent or change the way we speak necessarily. But then Prashant didn't even want that.
Yeah.
We've been inspired by their story. We've put the essence of that in there. A cinema that burned, the kids who died, and essentially they fight for justice over these past 25 years. And it's a really hard story to tell. What I love about the script is how it takes all of that, and then cinematically you do have to, of course, be creative with a true story even.
Yeah.
It doesn't just transcend by itself. And little things, you start to gather them together. For example, I'll have to give a little bit away of the story here, but my character bumping into a friend who doesn't
Yeah.
know what happened, and so my character pretends like nothing has
Yeah.
happened, and that's just human nature to just want respite,
Yeah.
for example. So these things built up, and as Rajshri said, there was, for me, that there was no prep. I couldn't prepare this.
Yeah.
It was feeling it in the moment. I think the awareness of the fact this actually happened to someone, because it's just that all the tragedy is true. I didn't even have to act, really. Yeah, I blame him for my mental problems.
There's this Prashant. There's just a lot of humanism in the story. It's not just only about the tragedy and how their fight is. Because I was seeing in one of the episodes, there is like you guys are sharing a cake, and that's your child's cake who passed away, and it's his birthday. There's a lot of these scenes that has happened. Like I want to know, how, did that all come from research? Like,
So, I mean, primarily we had Mrs. Krishnamurthy's book,
Yeah.
which we drew from heavily, and sometimes it would just be a line. Like, for example, like
Yeah.
we would never go to a cinema again.
Yeah.
That was a line that felt very powerful. Or then there is a mention of the cake
Yeah.
in a different context.
Yeah.
And sometimes those were the things that were more interesting to us, because in the end, as Abhay says, it's a work of fiction, and what our goal was is to kind of like go behind the statistics, because we are desensitized to it in a sense, and to really to talk more about the human side of it, the cost of what really happened to them, and what it took to go out there and fight after that.
Yeah.
And for that, we it was mostly about them, them as people. And so a lot of these things came from the book. We were inspired majorly from the book. We also had a research team that worked for 3 months. And there's a lot of documents and interviews in the public domain. The Krishnamurthis were incredible in terms of giving us access. They introduced us to a lot of people. They made themselves available, but they didn't, infringe on our freedom creatively. And they didn't, they allowed us to really go and tell the story inspired from their lives. But I think that's true, is that like those are the things we were interested in, because I think that's how we end up really caring and feeling, and how we get past the idea that it happened to someone else and into the idea of it could happen to me. So that was really like one of the things we wanted to focus on. And and then they speak of the script, but the truth is also actually, to do that you need to have amazing actors, which we did, and to give them freedom to make those things their own, and to play, and to play is perhaps the wrong word in this context, but to really explore on set. So I mean, in that way we were very fortunate with the two of them, and then also we have a number of other amazing actors like Ashish sir, Shardul, Anupam sir, Ratna ma'am, Shilpa. It's really a Rajesh sir, as well. So it's a really we were fortunate like that.
And I'll just add into it that what happens, what we know normally, a normal common people, we know what has been shown on screen, like on a newspaper or a news debate or something, whatever. But what happens when a person goes back home? How's the story? Like that's the emotion is that like when you go home, how much you must be dealing with things.
Yeah.
When their kids' birthdays are there, what do they feel at that time? It's very, very difficult. So, these moments, these things is, showing someone that what happens apart from those trial court, the life, like how will they get back to their regular life? You go back home and do you watch TV? What do you see? What do you think? What kind of food they must be eating? Festivals, how they must be celebrating all that, how they must be dealing with, someone's birthday or someone's marriage. So it's a difficult thing for someone, and Neelam, Shekhar and the whole team has gone through that. And apart from all that fact fiction thing, all the stuff, the technical stuff, I think this is the emotions, the emotional journey of both the people is very, very important. And I think it's a very important show, because apart from, like the tragedy and everything, why it's important to see is because there are two people. Every day they get up and they go to the court.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to do. If something happens, we either, a lot of people, it's difficult for them to get up and say that, okay, I want to do something about it. So you need that courageous thing. You need that. We need to empower people that you get up, you do something. We need to tell people that it's important to say.
Yeah.
So that's the reason, you know, apart from all that, this is the most important reason that people should watch the show. It should travel, and everyone should understand that what needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I would say within the tragic circumstances, at its heart, it is inspiring. It's inspiring because these two people just refuse to
Yeah.
back down after years and years and years, and we barely scratched the surface in the show of what they've actually been through. But they just refuse to go down, and that's how you make change happen. So
Yeah,
that's
and
what we would hope people take away from the show.
absolutely. And I think, you know, I feel person like me or anyone should take that inspiration and say that, you know, if whatever happened should not happen. You know, if I'm going somewhere, I want to see the safety. Is it there or not? Like, you know, everything is
Yeah.
important. And if something happens to someone, I want them to stand up. If I want to stand up if something happens. So, yeah, so this change has to happen, and this is the beginning for that, I guess.
On that note, thank you so much, guys, for speaking with me. Best of luck for Trial by Fire.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kartik.
Thank you.